How we doing, guys? Dreddy MTG here, back at it again with another GRUUL Prowess video. This time we're going to be playing the Friday afternoon Pioneer challenge. Not much difference from what you've seen from the deck before, I would say. I've gone back to Audacity over Demonic Ruckus, just trying it out. Sometimes when you use Seek the Beast, 2 mana, to have to hardcast the Demonic Ruckus is a little much the next turn, so that makes me want to try out Audacity again. Still running a couple of Atarka's commands, but we had to shave those to fit in the extra 1-drops here. And yeah, the sideboard is much the same, so pretty quick deck tech here, but same old idea. We're going to try and get them dead quickly with some Slick Shot Show-Offs and some Monastery Swift Spears. So see you guys in round 1. Okay guys, here we are here with round 1 of the challenge. Our opponent gives us a good luck, have fun. I will, of course, reply in kind. Triple Commando and a Monstrous Rage, not exactly ideal, but definitely good enough to keep. And I do remember someone requesting that we do turn off the chat here. I think we can just exit out like that. Yep, just so we have more space. So if anyone has requests like that, feel free to ask on the channel. I'm just getting used to making these YouTube videos, so I'm always happy to oblige if it's going to make the viewing experience better. Okay, they play an elf. Play with fire is a great draw then. Of course, want to bolt the bird. That advice is rarely a bad idea in the dark and Magic, and we do see Llanowar wastes from the opponent here. So black-green with an elf, not something you see all the time. Second elf, okay. Just take a sip of coffee. So we could be dealing with literally black-green elves, or we could be playing against some sort of black-green mid-range or aggro deck. I'm not sure. I'm just going to go ahead again and kill the second elf. Get in for 2. And it's a pity that we're losing out on all the counters here from our commandos, but still, okay, so the opponent's still stuck on 1 land here with the double elf start, so this really shows you how the old bolt the bird strategy can pay off for you. And I will shock here again. Looks like the opponent is auto-passed here with f6, but either way I would be casting Monstrous Rage here. We just want to get as much damage on the board as possible. And let's put Giganta in hand and pass the turn. That's probably going to be it for game 1, I'd imagine. Yep, sorry, just had to step away for a second, and that is game 1 in the bag. So all we saw was black-green lands and Llanowar elves, so not much to go on in terms of sideboarding. I am tempted to just kind of leave it as it is, to be honest. Like, it's not going to be an Amalia deck, so I don't see rampaging for us, it not doing much for us. Could be some kind of like Bolus's Citadel brew, in which case we might want Pick Your Poison, but I really haven't seen enough to tell, so I'm just going to go straight back in here. And let's see what happens in game 2. If you're enjoying the videos, guys, I always forget to say this, but do feel free to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps a little growing channel like mine. How do I actually get this so I can see the game log, though? Can I pop this out? There we go. Okay, I'll just put the game log on my other monitor so I can see it. Same with the chat. There we go. Chat and game log is now viewable to me. Okay, so given that they had so many elves game 1, I'm actually going to mulligan this hand and just look for a play with fire. We do find one, and we find some 1-drops as well. So that hand, people might think that's a little aggressive, but if this is like an 8-elf deck or something like that, that's really reliant on getting that start with the mana, and we do see another elf round turn 1, then I am very, very happy to mulligan more aggressively. And that hand was all 2-drops and card draw and stuff anyway, so I, it wasn't exactly a premium 7 anyway. If that hand had looked different and had, Kamano into Swift Spear into Slick Shot or whatever, then maybe it's different. Okay, so it looks like black-green vampires is what we're playing against here, Dusk Legion Zealot. Okay, so I think the play here is just get out both my 1-drops. Get in for a little bit of damage. And hopefully they don't drop a turn 3 Vein Ripper. Not really sure what the idea is. I've seen a few people play this black-green vampires type thing before, but I think I've only played it again. I think I played against it once and I got destroyed. But I'm not sure really what the green is all about. Maybe just hard casting the Vein Rippers if you don't find Sauron, but we do have a Sauron here. And what are we looking at? They take a pause and they're going to kill one of our creatures. Okay, so no Vein Ripper in hand. So does that mean they're light on removal? What does that mean? Because we can hard cast a Slick Shot here. Attack Sauron for 2. Or I can just plot one of them, attack them or Sauron for 1. Given that they don't have the Vein Ripper in hand, I think I'm just going to take my chances attacking the Sauron for 2 and exposing this Slick Shot. We do have a second one in hand anyway. And this means that next turn we'll be able to get the Sauron out of minus range. So hopefully that does some work. Pillage the Bog, okay. Okay, so this is the other fantastic black-green card, I guess, that got added recently. Or rather, this is the other reason to be considering being black-green because of this fantastic card. So they get to look at twice the number of lands they control, so 8 cards, and they get to put one of them into their hand. So obviously fantastic if you're playing some kind of 2-card combo thing. So it digs really deep to find the Sauron or the Vein Ripper. But they didn't slam a card, they did take a second there, so maybe they didn't find it. And yeah, they just plus, they got nothing to do there. Okay, so here, I mean, I'm kind of walking into a board wipe here, I suppose. But in case they have a Fatal Push, I do just want to get this Sauron down below the level where it's able to minus a Vein Ripper onto the board. That's kind of all I'm thinking about. Looks like they do have removal the way they're pausing here. Not sure. Nope, they don't. And they could have Liliana the Veil. It would make me want to keep a Stomping Ground in my hand here, but given how low we are and the fact that like we have Giganta, that makes me want to just play out my land drops. We're going to have a use for our mana next turn no matter what. Path of Peril, destroy all creatures, mana value 2 or less, sure. Okay, well, listen, at least we got in on Sauron for an extra damage. He's going to have to take an extra turn off if they find the Vein Ripper. And they find an elf, but okay, so if they find a land at this point, they can actually hard cast the Vein Ripper. Okay, let's start with Seek the Beast. Seek the Beast finds a land and a Swift Spear. That's cool. We'll play both out. And attack Sauron again. Not going to be able to kill it, but so it goes. And after combat, play the Questing Druid. We did give up a counter on the Questing Druid this way, but it was possible they were going to chump with the elves when we had mana up, so I wanted that to be a possibility. I think that's going to matter more than a +1/+1 counter. Death Touch and Lifelink on this guy. Okay, well, I'll certainly make the trade here. Just to get rid of the chance of them hard casting the Vein Ripper next turn. They draw it. Okay, they find another Siren. And they just did find the Vein Ripper anyway. Okay. So this is going to be kind of a tough one, I guess. I mean, this is kind of free in that I get to attack the Siren. And we have Witchstalker Frenzy. They do block. And we will cast Witchstalker Frenzy. We got to sack a creature. And if they have a Fatal Push here, which they do, our last card is Blossom in Defense. So pretty lucky sequence for us. We get to keep our creature, which obviously we need to play the ward. Sacrifice it. They do get 2 triggers here from the Vein Ripper, but it is off the board and the Siren is down to 1 and they still only have 4 lands in play. So hopefully that buys us some time to put something together. Preacher of the Schism is a good one. It's got a counter on it as well. Okay, land was not exactly ideal there. But we have a Giganta in our hand. It's better than nothing, I suppose. Not much to be said about this game here, obviously, but just top decking away. They have an enormous creature. They're going up to 28 life. And they're drawing extra cards, so this one's going to be out of hand pretty soon, I would say. We can't even block it with our Giganta, it's so enormous. And they get to pillage the bog as well, wow. I wonder if it's better to cast that or just to plot it. I guess they can find another, you know, they can find another preacher or something like that. Okay, so we'll hit Siren. They're still on 5 lands, so... Oh, no, it looks like... Yeah, we're eating a Fatal Push here. And I will continue to play it out just for the next turn or however long we're alive. Or is not to. If we empty the board, our deck can certainly kill them pretty fast. Okay, not when they have a Sheldred on board as well, though. That makes it pretty tough. That makes it pretty difficult. Okay, so we'll take it, go to 7, go to 5 from Sheldred. And we just gotta hope things are better for us on the play. Yeah, land doesn't get us out of it. Okay, so now knowing we're against this black-green vampires list, do we want to change very much? Pick your poison, not very interesting when Vein Ripper's the only target. Case of the Crimson Pulse, pretty good against mid-range decks. Obviously not very good against Sheoldred specifically, depending on how many they have. But, you know, you saw in that game too, we're kind of just slinging 1-for-1s back and forth. So this card advantage can end up being very good. And then you could consider Ferocidon. They have Sheoldred, Siren, and Vein Ripper to gain them life. And this does ping on the tokens being made from Preacher as well, which does kind of annoy them. But I don't think we really need to bring that in. Unless there's any cards here that I think are terrible and we want to take out, you know, which I don't think is the case. We could maybe take out an Audacity or a Monstrous Rage. But none of our cards strike me as being particularly bad here. I mean, obviously we do have to take one out here for this case, but I'm talking about on top of that for the Ferocidon. We can also just take out Natarka's Command. It's just sort of one of the slowest cards. You know, winning a combat isn't really that likely against them, you know, given their stat lines on their creatures and the Preacher having Death Touch. So like them not being able to gain life is relevant, but not all that relevant. Yeah, I think I'm just going to cut one Atarka's command here. And then it's a question of, do I want to cut another one just to be able to deal with Vein Ripper? We didn't see any other artifacts or enchantments, and that's their only flyer, so no, I think we just want to keep the deck more streamlined rather than bring in an answer just for a single card. So, of course, we'll play first. And I'm going to keep this one. Again, we have a play with fire to deal with an elf. Hopefully our slick shot doesn't get thought seized, and then we can plot it, and then turn 3 we'll have a nice big turn lined up. Gotta draw a green source, obviously, but we do have Seek the Beast to see 2 cards to do that if necessary. And they're starting off with no elf this time. Okay, Stomping Ground is a good one. And yep, I'm just going to plot our 2-drop. So they only had green up, so I suppose could consider doing something else there. Since it wasn't exposed to Fatal Push anyway, but I feel like that's just generally the best use of your mana in this deck, is plotting that on turn 2. Okay, they play a 1/1, draw a card and lose life. And let's make this a little bigger. So what do we want to do this turn? Little annoying that we don't have Blossoming Defense up. But that said, the rest of our hand is just very aggressive. It's not like we have much of a plan B here. I don't think just taking the whole turn off to hold up Seek the Beast is like a very good idea here. I think we're supposed to just get in for damage while we can. So that's what I'm going to do. Cast our Audacity. Go to attacks. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I just want to nuke them here for as much as possible. So we'll cast our Monstrous Rage. That's getting in for 10. And let's play with fire as well, because I'm interested in the scry here. Yeah, I don't want this land. Let's put this on the bottom. And we're getting in for another 12, put them to 4. So possible we can still burn them out through a Vein Ripper here. Given that we have trample, we might be able to kill them before the death triggers go off. Okay, pick your poison. They have us sacrifice the flyer. We get to draw a card. That means we're not dealing with a Vein Ripper this turn, so very happy with that. Oh my gosh. Sorry if you guys hear my little cat in the background. Want some attention. Hi, boy. You okay? He's fine. Just want someone to play with. Hello. She's beside herself. It's terrible. Okay, so having Sokenzen in hand is nice. This is 3 damage, obviously. If they're using Llanowar Wastes for colored mana, they're taking a damage. I'm going to start off with a Seek the Beast. We pretty much no bad hits here off this, right? Okay, and kind of annoying that the other 1-drop was the hit here. Just make sure I'm not doing anything stupid here by playing this. If we play Soulscar Mage, I can cast one of the other spells, obviously. But they'll just be in our hand anyway, right? So yeah, I just want to cast the more valuable 2-drop and get in for 1 haste in the air. Put them to 2. And we'll just have to lose out on the Soulscar Mage. And it should be pretty difficult for them to claw and fang their way out of this one. I was trying to make a vampire reference, but I don't know. What are they going to do? Turn into mist? Okay, they have another Pick Your Poison. Still kind of a scary situation. They have another green source, which isn't really ideal, I would say. And if they're tapping out here, yeah, we can just play with Fire Their Face, and that will be the round. So good games to our opponent. And I'll see you guys in round 2. All right, guys, back here for round 2 of the challenge. Won the die roll, kept 7, and the opponent kept 7 as well. So pretty tasty opening hand here. Only a single threat, but we do have some nice damage. We're starting off the turn 1 Kuano, and we have the protection spell, as well as the requisite number of lands we would like. Razor Verge Thicket, yeah, so we're playing against the Amalia combo deck. We do have a Play with Fire, which is a nice little amount of disruption. And here, what are we doing? They're not going to have any removal turn 2 for Slick Shot, right? So I like just casting it, get the counter on it, and then hopefully draw a land next turn and we can triple spell. That would be sweet. Okay, they draw a deep Cavern Bat. They can play with fire, I imagine, because otherwise we just kill the bat. Yep. And they gain a life. So pretty good start for the opponent as well. And our draws a Salt Scar Mage, okay. So play out our Swift Spear. And yeah, I mean, I suppose I'm just playing the Audacity. And we're just getting in there. And if we die, we die. What else can you do, you know? It's one benefit of considering playing Boros Heroic instead of this GRUUL deck as a shell for Slickshot Show Off is that instead of Blossom in Defense, you're playing Lauren's Escape and God's Willing. And Lauren's Escape, which makes a creature hexproof and indestructible, interestingly, you can also cast on your opponent's creatures, which lets you force the game to a draw if you make their Wild Growth Walker indestructible and they're tapped out when they go for the Amalia combo because they can't stop the loop. And, you know, they just have to deck themselves basically. And or that, I think that doesn't even stop the loop, but it basically means that it just never ends and they just keep using their clock until they concede the game. So kind of a funny edge case, but definitely something that happens. And with the revealed cards here, let me just see. Yeah, so they revealed Innkeeper, put it in the bin. And that was that. Okay, and we're getting attacked for 1 by the bat. That triggers the Amalia again, and now there's a return to the ranks on top. When did this Lunarch Veteran get revealed? Just looking at the log. Oh, with the Amalia, when they played the Amalia, yeah. And that is in the bin as well. Okay, and return to the ranks goes into the bin as well. So they've developed a healthy board now, and they just need to find their Wild Growth Walker. Makes it pretty tough for us. Amalia is a 5/5, so if we Blossom in Defense, our Swift Spear becomes a 3/4, including the Prowess trigger. So that doesn't really help us out here. I mean, they're just going to block, right? I think it would be silly to imagine they wouldn't. I'm not sure really what to do here. Like, we can bluff interaction, obviously. That might just be the play. I think we're supposed to just like attack with the show off and bluff interaction. I think if I tap out to cast the show off, it's just they're just going to go for it. They're going to have Court of Calling or the Wild Growth Walker or something like that. But given that the Amalia is already on 5 toughness, maybe there's no way for us to really deter them anyway. Looks like Collected Company. Okay. Like, yeah, I don't think there was really any other play we had there. They hit Selfless Savior and Extraction Specialist. And Extraction Specialist is going to get back probably the Innkeeper, I would imagine. Yeah. They're going to gain some life. Maybe I was supposed to just use my mana and just tap it. Like, they're just going to go for it anyway, right? So I probably was just supposed to use all my mana. This at least stopped them playing a Skyclave apparition and taking our show off. Okay, and off that they drew 2 lands and put Amalia in the bin. Not much to write home about here. And they get to get in for 1 in the air again, go to 10. I mean, okay, and that's an Etherflux Reservoir. It's kind of a funny one. They kind of, they put it in the bin. I was going to say, yeah, you kind of have to keep that on top if you want to play it at all, right? So, but they're not worried about the combo being interrupted at this point, so they are just going to let it go. And okay, Blossom Defense is not the card. Yeah, man. I mean, kind of same spot as last turn, right? I can either just attack with this, put them to 6, but not use my mana on the show off, and hold up a Blossoming Defense. I think I'm just going to go for it this turn. If they didn't have it last turn, let's just hope they don't have it this turn, is kind of what I'm thinking. So let's just get in for 5 in the air. And if they have it, they have it, because we can't stop them either way. So I would at least like to use all of my mana this turn. It gives us the best chance of winning next turn. And arguably, that's what I should have done last turn as well. Okay, another Explore trigger for Amalia. They cast this from the graveyard, obviously. And they first hit an Overgrown Tomb and draw it, and here is the Skyclave apparition I was talking about. So, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking if they found that a turn earlier, you know? They play Fauna Shaman. Okay, and they're going up to 9 from this. And they explore again, they're leaving the Skyclave on top. Which is kind of funny. It shows that they're willing to just play a fair game against us. So they are attacking with this. What does that mean? Oh, they're attacking with this as well. So this is just going to give them more triggers. This is a 10-10. 10, 3, and 1. I mean, I suppose they have so many blockers anyway that these guys aren't getting through on the ground, so I may as well just block. And this puts them up to 13 life. But they don't have a blocker in the air anymore. Play the Overgrown Tomb. And the Skyclave is on top of their deck. Okay, and we do draw a playable card here. And some good stuff. They don't have another flyer, so that's pretty awesome. Oh, yeah, sorry. So we actually need that because this is a flyer. I'm very silly. So they can still have Chord of Calling here. There's nothing we can do about it. But we basically just have to attack with everything, enable cheap mode on our Witchstalker Frenzy in order to kill their flyer. And then hopefully the Blossoming Defense is enough to get the job done here. If we win this game, I'm going to be surprised. I think this is, given the fast start they have and how many looks they had with Amalia to find the combo, I would say this was like pretty unlikely to have gone our way. And the opponent's like, oh, shucks. Okay, so attacking with everything. And we just have to aggressively use the Blossom Defense here. I could have killed, considering, well, no, because this guy doesn't have trample, right? And this is getting through for the most damage. That's why I did it, yeah. Okay. Make sure we're not automatically going through here. And yeah, doesn't really matter what we cast this on. You know, they'll be able to kill the big guy in response either way. We'll see if they have it. They are giving something indestructible. They gave the Fauna Shaman indestructible, yeah. But they are dead. Okay, we managed to take game one there. Very surprisingly. Shows the power of the deck, I suppose, when you have two slick shots in play. You can just win absolutely out of nowhere. And now, going into game two, considerations are definitely we're bringing in all four Rampaging Ferocidons. This is the matchup I put these in the deck for. I think this is a pretty difficult matchup and pretty popular. So just having this as kind of a nice answer that they just absolutely have to deal with is really sweet, I think. And then Rending Volley. So like Rending Volley is killing, in their deck, Skyclave Apparition, Amalia, Lunarch Veteran, Selfless Savior. You're not too interested in that, right? Extraction Specialist. You're also not too interested in killing that. It's killing a bunch of their creatures. Doesn't look like this version plays Voice of Resurgence, for example. But it is just more interaction, and that's probably what you want in the matchup, because you're probably just going to get them dead, you know, at some point anyway, if you manage to let the game go that long. So I'm going to say let's bring these in. It's just a case of finding enough cards that we want to take out. Move these across so we can see what's going on here. Just put the creatures here. Yeah, so Blossom and defenses don't look great. Their removal is pretty clunky. Although protecting the Ferocidon does become pretty nice. Witchstalker Frenzy, is Witchstalker Frenzy just better than Rending Volley in general? I'm not really sure. Play with Fire is great. You know, Monstrous Rage does just give us a much faster clock. We could consider cutting Seek the Beasts, though. If they don't Goldfish us, then the games do tend to go longer. Maybe at this point, maybe Rending Volleys are just... Maybe we should have them on the draw. Maybe I can cut, like... Audacity just seems great, too, though. Like, I am just very concerned with being able to kill them quickly. So let's cut those. Let's cut... I think we can go down to, like, 2 Blossoming Defenses. And then we can maybe cut... They have a lot of chump blockers. Let's go down 1 to 1 Blossoming Defense and 3 Audacity. Considering we're on the draw. On the play, I might want more Blossom Defense since I'll have the earlier Ferocidon possible. The sand is so expensive. Like double Witchstalker Frenzy. But we do have Kumano into Slick Shot with Ferocidon. So, pretty clear keep. I'm just looking at these 2 Frenzies and I'm like, these guys don't look like they're going to do much and we still need to draw the 3rd land. Okay, Soulscar Mage is a nice draw though. We'll start with the Kumano. I like just getting this guy going as soon as possible. This is a hand where I'll probably just play the Soulscar Mage on 2 over the Slick Shot. They do have Voice of Resurgence, it turns out. Kind of annoying. Copperline Gorge. Okay, so that's actually a great draw. And... you know what? Considering that we have Ferocidon in hand as a must-kill threat, I'm actually happy to run out the show off here. Because if they kill this... because we're we're not using 1 mana basically, right? If I play the Soulscar Mage there. And I want to tap out for this next turn probably. So like if they kill this, if they consider this something they have to kill, then maybe they don't have another apparition or whatever for the Ferocidon. It's like Pillage the Bog here or something like that. Probably another great card for this deck. This card, Pillage the Bog, is ridiculous. Okay, they don't have it, it looks like. I'm just imagining things. I seem to lose to this Pillage the Bog card all the time. Okay, exile this Saga and return it. So this is nice. So we're attacking with 2 creatures. So Witchstalker Frenzy will cost 2. Which means I can get like a lot of triggers in. Or I can just jam the Ferocidon. I kind of like double spelling with one of the Witchstalker Frenzies. Just get it out of my hand. So attack with both. Witchstalker Frenzy on Amalia. You have to pay the 3 life. And also we will just kill the Voice of Resurgence as well. It's getting exiled, so they don't get a token, which is actually amazing. Kumano faces Kazakhstan, MVP. And they have a tap land for their turn 4, so that's excellent for us. If they have a Collected Company or something. They have a Sentinel, so geez, second Witchstalker Frenzy is just going to line up perfectly here. This is kind of ridiculous. Yep, so we're just attacking. And that's lethal. We're just making it look easy over here. So deal 5, this is 6 damage, and then we'll add another 5 damage. So turn 4 kill against Amalia on the draw with an excess 4 damage is something that you don't see too often. Our opponent gives us the ellipsis in chat, can't believe what just happened. But that's the sheer power of this deck and of this card. This is why I love this card. So 2-0 in the challenge. See you guys in round number 3. Hey guys, here we are back for round number 3 of this Moto challenge. Apologies, I missed the first 7. It was 5 lands, a Swift Spear and a Slick Shot, so I threw that one back. And we are going to be keeping here on 6. Let me just get the chat up to say good luck to my opponent. And yeah, this is obviously a great 6, and we can just put back Basic Mountain, I think. So here we'll shock in Stomping Grounds. Start with the Soulscar Mage. The non-hasty guy, get him going as soon as possible. I think we might be up against Amalia again, if I remember correctly. Oh no, looks like not. I was thinking this opponent might be an Amalia player, but looks like we could be in some sort of mirror match here. Okay, and now we have the choice between plotting our Slick Shot or just getting in with these 2. I think I like just playing the 2 spells while I can. Means that we're going to have the Slick Shot come in as a 2-3 next turn. And if I draw a land, I'll even have Blossom in Defense up. And it just gets this going as soon as possible. You know, just this takes, 2 turns to turn into a creature and start dishing out more damage. So, okay. So we don't draw a land, but we draw a second Slick Shot, which makes me happy to just jam this one, get in with it. And the opponent plotted their Slick Shot on their turn. See what's going on here. This is kind of annoying for them to kill. Now they have to use a Witchstalker's Frenzy or something like that to kill it. And we haven't done a huge amount of damage yet, but being on the mulligan is definitely definitely a little bit annoying in the mirror because your cards are so cheap and you're going to kill each other so quickly that having that extra card could be very important. Oh, and they're actually playing Light Up the Stage, so this is more of a red-focused version of this deck, I guess. They hit 2 lands off it, which don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for them. And they go with the Stomping Ground this turn. That's kind of interesting. I suppose it means they want to use all this mana this turn. Obviously, they shocked it in rather than getting this guy in tapped and having access to all that mana next turn. And yeah, this is kind of an interesting one. I think I'm going to go Soulscar Mage and then attack with everything. Let these two bounce if they want to block the Swift Spear. Obviously, it doesn't end too well for them if they use a spell. And here we can just pass. Could have also plotted the Slick Shot there, but I think going shields down with a Blossom of Defense in hand is just a little bit awkward there. Okay, and this turn, so they shocked in this Stomping Ground, but they didn't use the mana. And now they're playing the Den of the Bugbear tapped. So possible that they have a Blossom of Defense or something like that. Although I haven't seen it in a version with Light Up the Stage. It doesn't really work too well with Light Up the Stage, right? You'd assume it's kind of all proactive spells that they would have. They go no attacks here. Another show off. Wow, okay. So what is the play here? They got 1 mana up. If I Blossom in Defense my Slick Shot, it will be up at 6 power. So if they double block, I will be able to kill both of theirs. I think I just want to make a Brave attack with everything here. Calling myself brave. The other option is to sit back with everything and plot a show off. But I think given that they have extra cards compared to us, extra mana, it's like playing for that longer game is just maybe not the best idea. Okay, and they're kind of forced to make a move here. And they're casting Monstrous Rage on their Slick Shot. So they're tapped out. That's going to resolve. And 6/3. So yeah, I can just cast Blossom in Defense here, and then this wins the combat against their Soulscar Mage, as well as trading with their Slick Shot. So that kind of helps the card factor a little bit. They go down to 4, and they did just 2 for 1 themselves there, with by using the Monstrous Rage and then the creature dying. And given that they lost 2 creatures there, I'd assume it's going to be tough for them to get in for 16 here. Do they still have this plotted, or is it just exiled from Light Up the Stage? I think this is just plotted, right? No, because they would have cast it here, surely. Oh no, sorry, it just got exiled because of the Kumano being in play when it died, right? Yeah, sorry, I'm silly. I do wish it was a little more clear what was plotted though on the Moto interface. I have gotten confused by it several times. And it's not my fault. Okay, so we go to 12 here. They have 2 blockers. They're just dead to us drawing like a Play with Fire, right? We do not draw a Play with Fire. Yeah, I think I'm happy just attacking them for 2 like this. It's pretty wild if they don't double block here after I only attack with the 2/2. Yeah, they're double blocking. Okay, we'll take out the Soulscar Mage. And pretty annoying here that they're getting such an amount of value. I am going to plot this show off rather than cast it, because like the only reason to cast it would be to like jump in the air on this guy. And, you know, they do have access to an extra card here with Chandra, but I feel like that's just a losing play. Okay, Crack Crown Pathway. Not something they can play. They have 2 cards in hand. Okay, second Slick Shot, 1 card, so we're not in any danger of dying here, which is nice. I mean, if it's, what, Atarka's command? That would be 3, 5, 7, 8, 11. Yeah, so I think we literally do, I think we can die to Atarka's command here, so I'm just going to block on the Swift Spur. And they have Monstrous Rage, that doesn't kill us, right? No, we go to 3. And unfortunately, we do not find a spell. Very annoying. So now I do actually just have to play this guy on the defensive, as we didn't cast a spell. Or as we didn't draw a spell to cast. Can't really cast both Soul Scars there because I'm taking a pain to do so. And I mean, if they find a spell here, we're just screwed, right? Basically. I mean, I have 4 toughness, so I can double block here and chump here. That would still be taking 3 from this guy. Or I can block the 3 here, block 2 here, block here. That would be me taking 2. So that actually survives. Opponent says LOL in chat. I mean, they have a Chandra activation, right? Yeah, so looks like they just have it. Attack with the Den, yeah, I think that does it, right? Just too much stuff for me to block. Yeah, and this has us taking at least 3. So LOL indeed, opponent, you got us. Okay, so for the mirror, pick your poisons, kill the Slick Shot show-offs, and they could possibly be bringing in something like Case of the Crimson Pulse or something like that in the mirror. Wouldn't be surprised to see people want to go a little bit bigger. Red Cat Melee, obviously 4 damage to something red. It's pretty good here. All the creatures are going to be red except for the Questing Druid. And that's pretty much all I'm interested in here. You could bring in the Magebane Lizards, but this looks like it's just going to be as much of a liability as it would be a help. And then in terms of things to cut, like Atarka's command is pretty nice in terms of winning us combats, but it's also expensive. It's 2 mana. So these are the first things I'm looking at cutting for the Red Cat Melees. On the draw, I'd be happy to cut some amount of 1-drops just for more interaction, but on the play, I don't think I really want to do that. I could consider cutting Audacity or Monstrous Rage, but again, I think just having that velocity and that threat of such a fast kill is very valuable. So I think that's going to be maybe the only change. You know, this is pretty useful when they're blocking with prowess creatures and we're attacking with prowess creatures, but I think 2 mana is just too much to leave up in this matchup in those situations. Did I punt there or something? I'm still wondering why the opponent said LOL. Only 1 mana here. 2 1-drops. Blossom and Defense, Play with Fire, Audacity. I'm going to keep it. Sand is almost the nuts, you know, if we had a second land. Or if we had Well, maybe it's 2 cards off the nuts. Maybe we want to land on a show off instead of a frenzy and one of the 1-drops, but it's very good nonetheless. So we can start off here, just play our Soulscar Mage. Kind of annoying that we got to take a pain from the Karplusan Forest, but so it goes. Just eats a play with fire sorcery speed. That is perfectly fine. And yeah, let's just go Swift Spear and get the Audacity on it while they're tapped out. Just guarantees that we get in for some damage with it and that we draw the card when they get rid of the Swift Spear, as opposed to them having mana up and being able to kill the creature in response when we're trying to cast it. And they plot a Slickshot Show Off. Oh, it does actually say plotted by this turn. Okay, I didn't realize it said that. Okay, second Swift Spear. Get in for 4. Could play with fire here. Given that we know they have a Show Off. I think I'm kind of happy to do that, to be honest. I don't see us dying incredibly fast, and I am kind of interested in the scry. Let's put a mountain on the bottom, and let's just get guaranteed damage in, put them to 8. This does mean they can, use Show Off plus some removal here or whatever if they want to. And they're maybe thinking about playing another creature. And they go Wizard's Lightning. Okay, so this is like a Wizard's Lightning build. That's interesting. Definitely they have more damage than us then. Okay, and we're taking 5 after losing that creature there at 8. So Frenzy is going to cost 3. I think I like just attacking and getting my Prowess trigger with the Frenzy here. I'm not going to worry about the possibility of a Blossom in defense, and we put them to 6. They're down to 1 card in hand here, 0 cards in hand. They're attacking to 2, putting us to 8. Attacking 4-2, excuse me, putting us to 8. And that is going to be the game here with the Kumano. Plus the Blossom in defense. So, just pretty simple magic. Just utilize your advantage being on the play and assume that you're going to be able to race first, and you take the game. Now the question is, on the draw, what do we want to do? Do we want to consider these Magebane Lizards? Do we want to consider cutting Swift Spears? Do we want to consider cutting Audacities? For the possibility of having Case the Crimson Pulse, pick your poisons to deal with the flyer, or a Kumano. Although we haven't seen that from their side either. So we really haven't seen any targets apart from the flyer for pick your poison, so probably not. Tarkus Command definitely doesn't look any better on the draw. I mean, this guy is also just very 2 mana, right? So I don't think I'm going to change anything on the draw. I think I'm happy enough having our deck the way it is. When I was playing the mono red version that had more cases and had like forages, I was considering boarding out the G2 Lava Runners, because those are like pretty bad on the draw in the play with fire mirror. But I just don't think we have better cards to bring in for our current main deck. We are going to have to mulligan this, of course. No red source. And we get to keep this one. This is pretty decent. And I think I'm happy enough putting back Stomping Ground here. Don't want to have to shock in the land. And, I'll happily take a pain at some point here to cast our Blossom in defense. Okay, so they do, of course, have the Kumano. We will just play Mountain and pass the turn. Nice that the red cat melee here. Yeah, they do indeed play the show off, thinking that it's safe from play with fire. And we get to kill it here, which is kind of a blowout, I would say. Don't even have to sacrifice a land. It's so great. And I am just going to plot our show off here. I'm not interested in exposing it to any removal or anything when we have Blossom and Defense in hand. And hopefully that just, slowed them down quite a bit, losing that creature. So I like just using our mana proactively here. Take 2 from this guy is okay. They hit light up the stage, hitting a Play with Fire and a Wizard's Lightning. Hopefully they needed to hit a land here, and that doesn't look too good. Yeah, it seems like that is the case. And considering the fact that they have no red mana up right now, I'm just gonna try and Play with Fire their 2/2. And also Monstrous Rage our guy. I'll just get in for a bunch. So we're getting in for 8, and importantly, our creature now has 3 toughness. It'll still annoyingly die here if they have a second red source. Oh no, sorry, because they don't have the discount on this. Yeah, so they're gonna have to top out here and get blown out. Yeah, this is just a disaster for the opponent here. This is their entire turn, 3 mana, and they're losing access to the Play with Fire. Okay, and we get to land an Audacity on our guy, get in for 6. And rarely seen in the mirrors, we actually get to put Giganta in our hand as well. Be on 4 lands, so we might even see this 5/5 elk doing some business. And now this is always going to be profitable for us, even if it dies. We're drawing the card back off Audacity, of course. And it's going to be tough for them to find a way out of this. Blossom Defense and Play with Fire doesn't do it. And that's going to be good games, just opponent stumbles on mana a little bit. Maybe there's a lesson in that, in terms of if you're not playing as many green spells and you're playing light up the stages and stuff, you should just be mono red rather than playing green. They obviously did have Blossom and Defense here, it turned out. But I don't know, man. Maybe there's a lesson there about the deck building, or maybe I should be considering light up the stage. I don't know. Anyway, see you guys in the next round. All right, guys, here we are back for round number 4. Let me get this start menu out of the way. And we have won the die roll, which is always nice. We're against Ryume, who I see play a lot on Moto. They're on Giganta. Yeah, I was about to say I think I remember them being on this Prowess deck as well. So considering that, this hand is very, very good, I think. We're just going to start off with a Soulscar Mage to get things going and pass the turn. And they start with a Kumano, okay. Arguably a slightly better start, but doesn't really matter that much. And not drawing a second land, a little bit awkward here. Okay, do I want to get the Swift Spear into play? It means 2 triggers for the Audacity when I do play it. I think I do. My reasoning is they're going to want to use the Chapter 2 of the Kumano this turn. They're not going to want to use a removal spell. So I'm hoping it's a 2-drop rather than a 1-drop, and they use all their mana. Like, they just play a Slick Shot here. Okay, it is a Swift Spear. But now, still, if I get to untap, then... Okay, no, they're just play with firing the Soulscar Mage now. So that means we can safely attach this next turn anyway. Okay, still unfortunately not hitting a second land. A little bit awkward. But we do get to attach the Audacity and stay in the damage race here. Get in for 4. So 14 plays 13. We do have an extra card here in hand, but it's because we don't have a second land on the board. So Kumano flips. They kill our Swift Spear with the second play with fire, we draw a Questing Druid. Not ideal, but hopefully it's just digging us to our next land drop that's right on top. Looks like they're tapping out for a Soulscar Mage here. So no third land drop from them. Okay, and we do have, unfortunately, no land drop here. I am just going to kill this Soulscar Mage while they're tapped out, presuming that they have another spell in hand, right? And they're going upkeep, Monstrous Rage, and that is enough just to kill us. So these things happen, never hit the second land. I think, considering I was pretty confident that the matchup was the Prowess Mirror, that was a totally fine keep. I wouldn't have kept it in the dark. But that's just how these things go. Again, looking at sideboarding. Yeah, I think we just want to, again, bring in the 2 red cap melees, take out the 2 Atarka's commands. Could consider taking out Monstrous Rage or Audacity here over the Atarka's commands, but I think just the fact that this is a 2-mana spell is enough for it to get out of the deck. 2 mana is just a lot, even if it wins you a combat. And again, not too interested in these Magebane Lizards. Maybe this is something I should try in the mirror. I'm not sure, I haven't tried it. But I'm just thinking it's like, it's only 1 power. It is an okay blocker, but they can still, get rid of it when they need to. And, you could screw yourself over with this as well, as the trigger does affect both players. Okay. And we'll try again on the play for a second time. Gotta get rid of this one, as both Seiju is not doing much for casting her spells. And not an ideal one either, but we got a removal spell at least. Put back a Stomping Ground. And we'll start with a Den and play our Kumano and pass the turn. One has the same. And draw another red cap melee. That makes me, I suppose, want to play an untapped mana, so I will play the Forest here. Could be dealing with 2 creatures this turn. So that seems worth the opportunity cost of possibly not saving the life. And they are thinking here, it looks like. They go for the second commando. I'll just kill this now. Okay, so pretty good start from the opponent. Ours is definitely looking a little bit slower again. Okay, but we get in for 2 this turn. And having 2 Den of the Bugbears does kind of shore up the late game for us if all the cards get traded out of our hands here. We'll be happy to have those 2. But that's a long way away from where the game is now. I'd say it's a relative rarity that the game goes to that state. And I'm happy to take 2 here from the Etching of Kumano rather than risk getting Blossoming Defensed. But I will try and kill it now. Okay, they either don't have it or choose not to save it, whichever. And yeah, given that we have a Blossoming Defense in hand, I am going to just play out the show off and try to get my attack in. This maybe telegraphs that we have the Blossoming Defense in hand, but what are you going to do, really? They go for the Frenzy on it, and I'm an idiot and did not leave up green mana. I literally just completely blanked on that. Okay, well, that's a huge punt. Not sure what happened there. I think I was just used to using this to not have to pay a pain, and for some reason just thought I was leaving up a green land. Can't even blame the color blindness on that one, to be honest. So that is a bit of a disaster. I mean, it's still a 1-for-1 trade. It's And they did use their whole turn's mana, so it's not like game ending or anything like that, but it would have been really nice tempo to get that in. And on the silver lining side of things, they're never going to guess that we have a Blossom in defense, right? If I didn't use it there, there's just no chance we should have it. Okay, and here's our cards from our Seek the Beast. I am going to shock and use my mana correctly this time. Bring in our Questing Druid. Really rare that I make a mana mistake like that. I'm quite surprised I did. And we're going to play the Kumano. I'm not going to attack with the Etching of Kumano this turn because I don't want to leave this guy dead just into a play with fire on the Questing Druid or something like that. Which, yeah, they have a red cap melee on this guy. Although I suppose they probably wouldn't have wanted to cast that on the Questing Druid. And there is the question now of, like, do I want to trade off here if I'm allowed? I'm not going to be allowed to choose anyway. They have, okay, so they have Bone Crusher Giants. That's kind of interesting for their build. It's a card I never really considered playing in this deck. It just seems expensive, and the preventing damage clause doesn't really seem too useful. But certainly does the job here. It's good against Boros, I guess, right? Against the heroic version. It's going to do a lot of work. Okay, and here we are going to be dead, so I have to leave up the Hive to block with. Sorry, the Den rather, not the Hive. So we're kind of forced into that this turn. And if they do have a spell here, we are just dead, unfortunately. Big punt this round. Don't think it really would have made a difference considering the amount of removal they had. You know, they had like 2 removal spells after... make sure I activate the right one here. After I did that, so it's likely the same thing would have just happened. This guy has Trample. But I mean, any spell that they have just kills us anyway, right? If I don't block it, so may as well just try and get the better trade here and assume they don't have a spell. They do. They got a Monstrous Rage, so nothing we can do there. Putting it on either creature would just kill us. And we got nothing here. So, okay, bit of a punt, bit of a painful loss, but listen, these things happen. Not going to let it get me down, and I'll see you guys for the next round. Hey guys, back here for round number 6, I think, of the Pioneer Challenge. Let me make sure I select Giganta there. Round 5, excuse me, of the Pioneer Challenge against MTGO N-Boss McWinsauce. Very strong player here. And McWinsauce is on Yorion. I believe he's done well recently playing 5-color Niv, so I'm going to assume that's what he's on. And no creature in hand with this 7, just a bunch of removal is not going to line up too well against that deck. So we're just going to throw it back and look for a 6. I'm going to keep this. I'm just going to keep all the fast damage spells, and hopefully we can just cheese them out before this 5-color mana base comes online. We're going to start with the turn 1 Kumano here. And basically what we're scared of here is a temporary lockdown, I would say. That's kind of the scariest card. But if not that, then I don't know, there could be some Vanishing Verses. See that a lot from this deck. Okay, and only 1 mana available to the opponent here. I'm going to start with a Swift Spear. This guy's going to come in with an extra counter. And then I'm trying to think, do I want to play the other Swift Spear? Or do I want to just put an Audacity on this guy straight away? Because I'm pretty happy saying it's going to resolve this time. There's just not too many 1-mana removal spells in their deck. And it does play better around temporary lockdown, right? So I think that is the line I'm going to go for here. Just get 1 Prowess trigger off this Audacity, but hopefully get it into play safely, and this also leaves us less open to temporary lockdown if they do have it. So pretty strong attack here, get in for 5 on turn 2, you can't really complain about that. And basic swamp here from the opponent is an interesting one, but again could mean Vanishing Verse is on the horizon. And they do indeed. Okay, they have a Leyline Binding, not a temporary lockdown. So maybe the other Swift Spear would have been a decent choice after all. Here, I think it's pretty clear that we want to attack with one Swift Spear. Just put some damage on there, 3 damage. And then we can plot the Slick Shot show off and hold up the rest of our mana. Seems good. And let's just hope that something devastating isn't coming out on turn 4 here. Although, you know, worst comes to worst, opponent wipes the board here. We're still attacking with a Slick Shot with 2 spells. So that's 4 Prowess damage, plus 3, plus 2. So 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 2 is 9, plus 1 base damage is 10. So this is almost close to lethal here, even if they wipe the board this turn. So I would say one of the better cards they can have is Lightning Helix here against us. I'm not sure how many copies of that this deck is playing these days. Okay, looks like we see a Pillage the Bog. Don't mind that. So they have 3 lands in play. They get to look at the top 6 and put a card into their hand. Pretty good at digging. Maybe 4... I mean, I assume they just need a land here, but maybe they're looking for another untapped Boros source, a red-white source, just to cast a Lightning Helix and stay alive here for sure. Or maybe another Leyline Binding would be pretty decent as well. But I would say this game is pretty likely to be in hand here. This is obviously what you want against these 5-color decks. You want them to stumble a little bit in the opening, have to play one too many tap lands, or, you know, be stuck on a color or something like that, and just run them over, because obviously you're not competing once the game gets to its later stages against them. And they have 2 mana up here. We are, of course, just gonna go for it. Play a Kumano to get this trigger. Yield to these. This is going to deal 1. And then, since we have the Blossoming Defense, we're of course going to target our show off with the Monstrous Rage. I'm not going to screw up again and not leave a green mana up like last round. That is not happening again for the rest of the tournament. Once is definitely enough on that one. And they do have another Leyline Binding, but we do have the Blossoming Defense here to shore up the game. So unless they have a single blue mana spell here, that's going to wrap it up. Go to game 2. And yeah, what do we really want in this matchup? This is an interesting one. Pick Your Poison is obviously looking great. They got temporary lockdown, Leyline Binding. They could be on some kind of Fires of Invention, Enigmatic Incarnation thing, although I haven't really seen that be popular in a while. I think it's usually just Bring to Light for good stuff. But certainly these guys are good. They're obviously against the Niv Mizzets as well that have flying. They're excellent there. When they get Yorion onto the battlefield, it deals with that. So this should just be an all-star in the matchup. Magebane Lizard, I don't think is that interesting, right? Like it's going to cost deal them 3 total if they bring to light into another non-creature spell, and it's going to kind of maybe ping them for 1 a turn, but it doesn't seem like they're mostly just casting 1 big hitter every turn, so I don't think that's going to do very much. Case of the Crimson Pulse definitely can bring this in. They can, you know, with a decent start, especially on the play, make the game go a little bit longer. And the case is going to come into its own there. And then Ferocidons, you know, they are going to have some life gain spells, some Lightning Helixes and stuff like that. But I'm not really sure where this would fit in, to be honest. I think we can just cut Witchstalker Frenzies here, to be honest. Like, it deals with Yorion, but like 2 of the Nivs are 6/6s, right? Not even 5/5, so it doesn't even kill those. And it's not like they've got, you know, Sheoldreds or anything like that to kill. They don't really play many creatures at all. I don't think they play Lila, that new, I think it's a 1/4 blue-red card. but I just don't think this is going to be doing that much. So let's take these out, bring these 4 in speculatively. And we have another 2 cuts to go here. Sorry, Magic Online's just being a little sleepy right now. And yeah, we could consider, they're mostly playing at sorcery speed, so I like keeping in the audacities and stuff like that. We could consider cutting Atarka's command. This does help to just goldfish against them, though. We could cut questing druids. I don't actually mind cutting questing druids here, to be honest, because, well, actually, is it better? Is it better than the first case? I think a case is better here on the draw, because this is better in the longer games. We're hoping the games don't go that long anyway. You know, so by the time I start drawing cards off the questing druid, it might be too late. Whereas the case of the Crimson Pulse is just a higher power level, you know, it's repeated card draw every turn. So that would be more likely to bring us back in the game if it does go long. So I think that's decent enough logic for doing that. Obvious keep on this 7 here, just great mix of lands and spells. You can't really go wrong. And we're just going to slam 1-drop, 2-drop, and hope to kill them on turn 3. If that is what you're into in Magic, hopefully this video is making you feel good right now. Okay, we haven't upped the beanstalk. We're not too worried about that. And here's a case where it's like, okay, do I want to just cast the show off? We see 1 white source. So they'll need an untapped white source to cast up the beanstalk. Yeah, I just don't see... I think it's a little greedy to just cast this guy, even though we have a second one. I can consider casting the second one next turn. If we draw land, maybe, but I don't know. There's a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Don't mind that too much. There's a Pick Your Poison. That's a decent enough draw. Okay, so here I'm going to cast the Pick the Poison. Sorry, Pick Your Poison. Make them sacrifice an enchantment. See what they get rid of. They get rid of up the beanstalk. Then let's go to combat. And I'm actually just going to kill this goblin token before it blocks, because they're not going to block with it anyway, let's be honest. And I don't want them to get the extra mana from this. And it's looking pretty good for us next turn. Sylvan Caryatid, that's not going to do it. Leyline Binding on a show off, that is definitely much better. And Steam Vents comes into play tapped. Okay, so is there any way to kill them here? I don't think so. This first one makes this so 1 + 1 for a prowess trigger, +2 is 4, +1 is 5. And then this would be 8 if they don't block. So what we can do here, I mean, they are going to block though, that's the thing, right? But let's see what happens. They don't block, we just have lethal. But they do indeed block, so let's trade there. That is a 5/4. And again, I'm just going to cast Pick Your Poison, have them sacrifice an enchantment post-combat. You could say that was greedy, I just lost a point of damage or whatever, but also it's giving them more of a choice of what to sacrifice this turn, but I just thought there is a world where maybe they just don't block here and we just have lethal, so. Okay, so they give us back our Slickshot show-off, which presumably means they have some kind of wrath here. We're seeing a Sunfall. They get a 3/3. And I am going to just plot my show off here. Tap land, a little bit unfortunate there. That would have been lethal. And let's see if they slam a Niv now here or something like that. They have, I don't know what this is. Ancient Cornucopia, 2 and a green. It's from Big Score. Whenever you cast a spell that's one or more colors, you may gain 1 life for each of that spell's colors. Do this only once each turn. Okay, well, Atarka's command is pretty good to deal with that. So let's just try and kill them. Okay, so we go Monstrous Rage, yield to our trigger. Take my hands off the keyboard just in case I accidentally click through something I'm not supposed to. And they have Fatal Push. So they are going to be able to kill our guy. And then I'm trying to think, is it worth it to stop them gaining 1 life here? With this, I suppose I can just do it in future anyway, since they're not going to be dying right now. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think I'd prefer to just have the questing druid up. Okay. So we're getting 2 for 1 here. And we'll just go to their turn. They gained 1 life from that. Could have been more aggressive, I suppose, earlier in the game. Would have brought them to a lower life total. It's not ideal here if they get to grind back some life with this Ancient Cornucopia. They put Yorion in hand. No attacks, and we will cast Seek the Beast. Seek the Beast hits a Show Off and a Stomping Ground. So, yeah, I mean, I could cast both here, but I would prefer to just try and kill them this turn. So let's just cast the Show Off. Go to combat. And they're down to 2 cards in hand. Let's just hope they don't have anything. So we'll go 3 damage, and creatures you control get +1/+1. Does that make a difference? No, I mean that is what we should choose, because if they gain life, they're going to respond anyway, right? So it'll be above this on the stack. Looks like they do have something here. Lightning Helix. Yep. So I could have waited on that one, stopped them getting the life, but they likely just don't cast anything. If I just attack for 1 there, right? So they're on 9, they have 2 cards in hand, and we're getting swung on again for 1 here. This taps for 1 mana of any color as well. Nice little anti-grindy card here. And they're playing their Yorion. They don't really get much value out of it here. They get to untap their Ancient Cornucopia, but that's about it. And yeah, not a whole lot going on this game. I'll just play out my Questing Druid and play a tapped land. We do still have the Den of the Bugbear in play here, so it is possible that we can still be in this game due to that. Okay, they cycle Rafine's Tower. And looks like Magic Online's lagging a little bit here. Sorry, let me just turn off these notifications if possible. But I had already done that. Okay, that should do it. And let's untap. And we draw a Soulscar Mage. Not exactly ideal. May as well play it out. Yield to this trigger. And then we can put Giganta in our hand as well. And you know, it's possible we're not dead. It's possible we can win this, so let's just play as if we can. No attacks, no 2/2 into 3/3 attacks. Up the beanstalk. Opponent's got a bunch of cards here. Second, or well, this is the third up the beanstalk of the game, but second one on board now. So a Leyline Binding is going to be absolutely enormous here. And another swing in, this time for 7. I'm not going to block. I've already seen a Lightning Helix. If they have another one, they have another one. We're not beating it anyway, right? So I'll go to 2. And just hope they don't have it. And Blossoming Defense is not going to do it here, so let's go to game number 3. Okay, so do I want to change anything on the play for game number 3? I don't really think so. I mean, Questing Druid looked perfectly fine there, to be honest. I like having the Atarkus commands now, though. Now that I've seen the Ancient Cornucopia, I think that's going to be something I'm going to actually leave in. Be actually leaving in. So I think I'm happy with all my spells here, to be honest. Could take out Play with Fires, maybe, for the Questing Druids, but don't think that's necessary. And I'll have to restart Modo or something like that after this round, because it is getting a little laggy. Okay, and here we go. We got 1 land, 2 1-drops, 2 Audacities, a Monstrous Rage. This is a fast clock. I'm going to keep it. We do need a second land, but it's pretty great if we do draw that second land. So let's do this. Play the Kamano first, so our Swift Spirit can come in with a counter. And let's see what this 5-color deck has lined up for us early on in the game this time. A little bit of a dodgy keep, no protection, just all Audacities, but okay, so they have a tap land, and we don't draw our land, unfortunately. But we get in for 2, and hopefully our creature is not dying this turn. It is in fact dying this turn, that's irritating. Okay, Etching of Kamano comes back. Let's just get in there. Still no land drop. Slightly annoying. So sometimes, yeah, it just doesn't turn out the right way here when you keep a 1-lander, but it's just the way it is. I don't think we made a mistake not keeping here or anything like that. Play with Fire. I mean, I prefer to use the Monstrous Rage if I can, and I think this looks like a pretty obvious attack either way. Okay, yeah, no blocks from the opponent, very heads up, and we will just Play with Fire to get rid of the Fable token there. You know, I think just letting them to 5 mana to the Bring to Light mana is just not really allowable, so we kind of have to spend the card on the token there, even though it doesn't advance our game plan too well. Second Audacity maybe would have been the other option, just to guarantee us another card when our creature does die. It could be slightly annoying to have this second Audacity stuck in our hand, but, you know, listen, we got to draw another threat at some point either way, right? So maybe that's kind of foregone like thinking like that is, you know, we've lost the game at that point anyway, perhaps, I think. Okay, opponent casts Pillage the Bog, gains 2 life. This card's looking pretty decent here, right? 3 mana rock that's just gaining you like a not insignificant amount of life in this deck, I would say. Just making sure my cat's happy here beside me. Oh my god, she's attacking me. She nibbled on my hand while I was trying to pet her, showing me who the real boss is around here. Okay, so they take a card from their Pillage the Bog. We do hit our second land finally. And let's just make sure there's no friggin' lethal here or anything, right? This is +2, this is +3, so that's +5 total. It's not exactly lethal. So, yeah, I think we're just... Well, I think we probably are still doing that, just putting the Audacity on it and the Monstrous Rage on it. And just hoping they can't draw out of this one. Just get in for 9, and we'll get to draw 2 cards when they kill this guy. I think it's important just to proactively use our resources there and just get the damage in while we have a creature on the battlefield, considering we don't have a second threat to back it up with. Like, I'm not really considering the 1/1 Questing Beast to be a threat, you know? They do have a flipped reflection here. Okay, and they are getting to bring to light here for 5 colors, so this is going to be a big one. Don't know what you get here. Do they just go for a Niv Mizzet? Are they going to get like what's the best removal spell they can get here? They could get a Lightning Helix or something like that, but that seems, you know, a little bit low impact, I would say. And it is an Omnath they go for. And that Omnath gaining them 4 life is really something there, actually. Puts them all the way up to 7. And they're gaining another 4 with the first trigger from that as well. So we get to untap, and this is 7. This will be 10. And I'm trying to think, do we have lethal, or do I have to do something else here? Sorry. We have, if I go Swift Spear, we're attacking with these. This is 7 and 1, and then the Monstrous Rage will make this 2, so that's 3 damage before the effects of the spell. And then let's say we're putting it on the Swift Spear. That would make it 5 power, so we'd have a 7 and a 5, and they would have to block both, and they would still be quite low. I think that's probably the play. Just uses our mana and forces them to block. Okay, they go for the double block here. So this is 6 toughness. So this guy's spilling over for 1 currently. So this is going to be 2 damage. And then this will be another 4 damage if I do this, and we'll draw 2 new cards. I kind of like doing that. Just spend our mana here to get some guaranteed damage in. We put them to 5, draw 2 cards, but we don't draw a land in those 2 cards. And they have a second Omnath, which is going to gain them 4 more life here. This is pretty wild, the amount of life gain we're dealing with. Let me just bring up the game log here. Oh, there we go. I was wondering if we know about any of the lands, which we don't, but there is a Fabled Passage. So that's going to put them up to 17 next turn here again when they decide to use the land and get the trigger. Oh, they're actually using it now. Okay, so they're getting the 4 mana instead of going up more life, so they must have something pretty nice to do with it here. We see them go for an up the beanstalk, looking for a removal spell here. Looks like we might have another Lightning Helix. We have a Valky, which lets them take a creature from our hand, so they can take Questing Druid. Don't really mind that too much. I don't think I was really in the business of casting Questing Druid regardless, but they do now know the rest of our hand as well. But, you know, big surprise that we got a bunch of aggressive spells when we have 2 lands on turn 6, right? And they put Yorion in hand. Okay, so they pretty much have like forced attack here. We have like a forced attack. They have kind of like a forced block. So we may as well go for it. And then hopefully next turn, the show off can help finish the game with the help of a land drop. I'm the one who keeps all these one-landers, so I can't really complain, you know? Okay, they go no blocks. And then, is it a case that I want to get this extra damage in? This is +3 damage, so it'd be 8. No, I think we just want to attack for 5, and we can pass the turn. Getting in for some big damage here. Getting in for 6. And I would say this game is about to be over here. It looks pretty tough for us at this point. Okay, so they cast Yorion. They get to gain 2 life from doing that, and they get to draw from the beanstalk. And the Valky gets to come back here and take our show off. Again, we might get a block out of our opponent, but I think it's just looking pretty tough here overall to finish this game out. They've kind of gotten to the point of the game where this cornucopia has really been an MVP getting their life total up, you know? And then obviously the Omnath life is nothing to sniff at either, just a lot of life gain here. It's a pretty nice way to transform the matchup for them. Second Blossom in defense isn't going to do it. I'm just going to throw in the towel in here. I think we're probably we're just dead next turn, can't get the damage in. So very interesting matchup. Thanks to the opponent for the games, give them the GGs in chat. And I will see you guys for the next round. Welcome back to round 6 of this Pioneer Challenge, guys. We're on the draw here against Lori. I presume that's how it's pronounced. And we have a pretty nice looking 6 here against the No Companion 60 card deck that we're seeing over here. So let's see how this goes. They start with a Swamp and a Thoughtseize. Presume they take Slick Shot here because it's kind of the scariest card. It could depend on their hand, and they concede the game. Interesting. They mulligan to 6, play Swamp, Thoughtseize, concede. Okay. Guess the hand just didn't line up at all. So Black Thoughtseize deck, do we want to assume it's Red-Black Vampires, Red-Black Midrange? Probably not Red-Black Sacrifice because we didn't see Giganta. Could be the mono-black deck that plays Waste Knots and things like that. Either way, I don't think it really changes how we board too much. I think I want this Case of the Crimson Pulse in there. And then given the fact that they have a lot of instant speed removal, we can probably cut like an Audacity or something like that. Just for that card. And then, is there much else I want to change here? I don't think there is. You know, as I said in a previous video, maybe against vampires on the draw, you can consider bringing in Pick Your Poison to deal with the Vein Ripper. But I like playing the hope they don't draw it strategy. You know, things kind of have to break your way on the draw no matter what. So let's just hope things break our way. And this is a fast deck, but I didn't expect to win that fast. Totally reasonable keep here, obviously. You'd be happier maybe if the third land was a spell. Okay, but can't complain too much. Opponent starts with the Duress, and I presume you take the Saga here over a Play with Fire. Although, again, these things can depend on your opponent's hand. Something you should think about if they take what you would think is the quote-unquote wrong card, right? You should think, well, why would they do that? What's in their hand? You know, do they have enchantment removal? Obviously, mono black, it's not very likely, but, you know, just as an example. Little Dreddy's tidbit there. Okay, mismatched swamps. Guys, we gotta be better than this on Magic Online. You can get so many nice basic lands for free on this program. I do it too, though. I can't complain too much. Second, Copperline Gorge is not really ideal. Opponent's holding up 2 mana. I would imagine they have some sort of removal here, so we are just going to plot our show off to keep it safe. And hopefully no more fast lands that are going to come in tapped after next turn. That would be a little bit awkward. Okay, maybe our opponent is just purposely playing all mismatch basics, which, you know, I do respect that a little bit more. Okay, and we have to sacrifice our Soulscar Mage here. And I think we just get in for some damage here, right? So we can start putting Audacity on this guy. So we're going to get this card back. Let's play with fire. Oh, do I even want to play with fire the Liliana? I don't even think so, to be honest. Let's just attack and let's just blow our whole hand on getting in for some damage here. Another play with fire. So they're going to be on 10, 8, and then this is another 5. So this is 3. So play with fire puts them to 1. I mean, 1 is a low life total. I'm going to say let's keep it. Let's Monstrous Rage our guy. And we get him for 12. Put them, sorry, we put them to 5. We didn't put them to 3, miscounting. But still, they got to have removal for this. Yeah, we don't care about losing a land here. 3 is already the magic number for us. And they might, yeah, they Field Ruin us here, maybe. Oh, okay. I thought we were going to get Field Ruin considering we left a card on top. But that works too. And yeah, let's just play a land and pass. Hopefully this play with fire helps us out and we get to scry something nice to the top. So in response to Liliana here, just dome them for 2. Land on the bottom, although, you know, we can activate Den with that. So I was like, oh, that's not so bad, but there could just be another land we could just look for. And, you know, if it's a spell, it's probably preferable. They discard a Cut Down, so okay. Kind of nice that I didn't spend my whole turn using the Den. And they're blowing up our Den anyway. So we get a land into play, and that shuffle was taken away or that scry was taken away from us. That is my angry cat. Apologies if you can hear her there. It's near dinner time, so they get grumbly. And no point putting Giganta in our hand here, right? Like it forces them to use the plus on Liliana when they might not want to. They have 4 lands in play, so maybe if they have Aklizots in hand or something, they might not want to do that. But I think I prefer leaving Giganta in the companion, in the command zone rather, as a companion. Okay, they plus the Liliana regardless. This is like training with weights, training with annoyed cats around you at all times, you know? Okay, and we get to plot this Slick Shot show off, saving it from both Liliana's plus and Liliana's minus. Pretty amazing ability plot. I've really been just loving this card. And they plus again. They get rid of an Invoke Despair, so yeah, it just looks like expensive cards and stuck on lands is what we're dealing with here. And we have another turn before the Liliana ult gets us, so I guess we're just passing the turn again. Oh my gosh, now the other cat's getting involved. What is it, boy? It's still a little before their dinner time, but maybe I should feed them earlier when I'm recording, just so I don't have these uninvited special guests. They're cute though. Okay, let's just see what Seek the Beast gets us here. You kind of gotta presume they have removal here, right? Even though they've been discarding every turn. Yep, they have a sacrifice a creature. Exile our top 2, so that's going to help us put 2 creatures into play. Put the Soul Scar Mage into play. Get a counter on this guy. And then play a land as well. So unfortunately no way for us to play around that edict, but you know, it was going to get used at some point, right? No way around it. And they do use the Liliana ultimate and ask us, presumably, do you want to keep your creatures or you want to keep your spells? I think we'll just sacrifice both the creatures and keep all our lands. That seems more sensible to me. And we're very close to being able to just get and play Giganta on the same turn, but I think that would be greedy, right? Especially since we have Blossoming Defense as the draw, so getting to play that would be nice. And they are, it seems like it is totally mismatched here, all this stuff. Okay, so they get to draw 3, we lose 6 because we have nothing to sacrifice. There is a Swift Spear, and that's game. Okay, so not really much of a game 1 there from the opponent. Pity we didn't get a better game. And then game 2 is kind of as grindy as you expect. So we'll be going into the last round here, 4-2, but with decent tiebreakers. Obviously, we just lost last round, so our opponent's on 4-1, and Ryume has been winning at 4-1 as well. So we'll see how this goes. We might be able to sneak into top 8 with a win. But either way, see you guys next round. Okay, final round of the challenge here. We're on the play against a Karuga deck. So Karuga Fires or the Quintorius combo deck. Kind of an interesting one. Hand is like pretty fast. It's pretty bad if I don't draw a second land though. If I do draw a second land, this is just lights out pretty quickly for the opponent. I think I'm going to take the risk on this one, considering we have so many 1-mana spells. Could be a mistake. I'm coming into the last round. We're in 12th place. There's 3 4-2s above us. And Ryume and Windsauce both won their round. So we might be in contention for top 8 if we win. You never know. But obviously got to play for the honor in any case. So start with a Swift Spear. Let's get in there. Big ol' 1 damage. Stomping Ground. Okay, so looks likely to be the Quintorius deck. I think this just does the most damage, considering it's multiple turns worth of damage. Little bit awkward here to not draw the second land and to draw a 2-mana spell, so maybe I should have more strongly considered the mulligan here, but you live by the sword, you die by the sword, you know? Another 1-mana spell, not what we want to see. And I am just going to play with Fire Their Face here. Just try to scry to our second land. Let's put this on the bottom. Spinewood's Armadillo. I don't know this one. It's from the new set. Search your library for a basic land or a desert. Reveal it. You gain 3 life. Okay. Our opponent in 15th, so we are slightly above them in the standings here. Okay, so they got a basic swamp, but it's still in their hand here. We will just be attacking for 3, and just doing this to do some damage. It looks like we might be falling afoul here of just not having the second land drop. We still have maybe 1 more turn to get them. They can have, you know, the Carnosaur or something like that here. And man, again, okay, we just don't quite get there. I'm going to just Blossom in Defense again. I'm going to put them to 1, make them unable to shock in a land. And we actually do make it on 1 land. Just, who needs more? Just 1 mana every turn, knock out a spell, fair and honest magic. So, going into game 2, what do we want to do? Obviously, the Magebane Lizard, I would imagine, is pretty good, you know, when they're going off. Although half the spells they cast are the clones, right? So it's not going to trigger on every spell, but still on every Quintorius that they cast, it's going to be like, you know, 1 damage plus 3 damage plus 5 damage. That just has to be good enough, I think. Pick Your Poison is going to work on Leyline Binding. They can have temporary lockdown. I'd imagine the double white is kind of tough for them to manage. I think we kind of just want these 2 maybe, and we maybe just want to cut Play with Fires or Questing Druids. I think probably Questing Druids because we just don't want the game to get into that late phase at all. Can consider Rampaging Ferocidon to stop them gaining life. Like, because sometimes they combo and they can't quite kill you and they just gain a bunch of life, right? But, I don't know. I don't think that's really the way to go. This only hits creatures, so we can't hit Quintorius with that. Red Cap Melee is creature or planeswalker, so this will kill Quintorius. But I think that's getting a little fancy, so let's just bring in the Magebane Lizards and say go. The Play with Fires hopefully will be enough to deal with the Quintorius combo turn if we have to leave mana up there. Battle of the big 5-mana companions, and our hand is great. We definitely want to keep. Opponent keep 7 as well. They start with a Triome. And we are going to start with a Kumano Faces Kazakan. Or Kakazan. Kakazan? Yes. Okay, another tap land. They do have Leyline Binding up now. When you next cast a creature spell, comes in with a counter. I want to use my mana this turn, and I don't want to get 2 for 1 if they do have Leyline Binding, so I'm just going to cast the show off. As slow as this is. Yeah, they do have the Leyline Binding. So if I cast Soulscar Mage there and Audacity, I think I just can't lose the extra card there, unfortunately, even though this is a lot slower. I could have considered plotting there, but then I'm missing out on the counter. So I think when you're on the draw against a deck like this, you just want to play greedy and just try to get them dead as efficiently as possible. another tap land, as they are wont to do. And okay, we can just go to combat here, hit them for 2. And we will play a Soulscar Mage and pass the turn. Could have tried Audacity there on our 2/2, but it's an extra damage if we play it next turn. If they kill the creature, because we have the Prowess trigger at least. They do gain 3 life from that. This comes into play tapped. So we're basically just playing around Leyline Binding again, or they could have the Carnosaur with the Ketria Triome up. I don't think we can kill them this turn, right? Okay. Let's start off with an Audacity here, see if they have a response. Doesn't look like it. Let's try to put an Audacity here, see if they have a response. Doesn't look like it. And yeah, I suppose we're just attacking. This is 9. This is going to be +3, +4. So we're getting in for 13. Put them to 7, play the other Soulscar Mage, and kind of expect to die when we untap. They channel Greater Tanuki to go get a basic. Put basic planes into play. And it's a basic mountain they have in their hand from that armadillo earlier, so they play it now. I think if we hold up mana, they're just going for it anyway, right? So, okay, they just have an armadillo. Are they just probably dead then? This is a 7/7 reach. Let's do anything else. Yeah, I'm just going to attack with everything because we're going to get a card off our Audacity. And so if that's a play with fire, they're just dead. They did block. I thought they didn't block for a sec. I was like, oh. And it is a show off. So what is the plan here? I think the plan is just to put Giganta in our hand and pass the turn. Could show them the show off by plotting it, but I don't think that really increases our odds of winning the game. Okay, they cycle. I think having the extra haste creature that they don't know about is more valuable than saving the 2 mana there. Okay, they spark double. And they have another armadillo, and let's hope to just draw a spell, and that will be game. We draw land. Unfortunate. Okay, so I'm just going to go same thing again. Play the show off. Get in there. They have to block the Etching of Kumano, and I'll just hope to draw a burn spell. Not that we have that many of them. Okay, put them to 1, draw a card. And we do find another show off. So again, I think I'll just pass with the show off in hand rather than plot it. They might play another creature and just attack with both these creatures, you know, to try and kill us quickly. Who knows? We're seeing Fable Passage. They can maybe get Karuga and play it if they want to. They're cycling a Triome. And what do they find? Clever Impersonator, okay. And that can come in as a Leyline Binding, right? Yes, but they choose to make an Armadillo instead. But they're so clever, they're just attacking with 1 of their creatures instead of 2. No, they do attack with 2. Nice. Okay, so that I think is going to be game, unless there's a 1 mana spell they can cast here. But looks like it paid off to keep the Slick Shot show off in hand there. So we can cast this. And then it's like what I want to actually... They concede anyway, so GG's to our opponent in chat. I was thinking, would we want to actually Leyline Binding this and give them an extra mana in exchange for having an extra Slick Shot back? But I don't think so, because then they could gain 3 life, right? Get a basic and play another one of these Armadillo type things or Herd Migrations. So probably better to not Posage you there and just attack with these 2 and leave them with 1 mana up for the Kruger deck. Okay, so listen, I'm not sure if we're going to top 8 or not here. We were in 12th place. I suppose you'll see me next round if we do manage to top 8, and if we don't, then we don't, and that's the end of the video. So maybe see you guys for next round. All right, just a quick update to end the video, guys. Didn't quite make the top 8, unfortunately. 12th place, but still pretty happy with that run. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the content, please give me an old like and subscribe on YouTube there. Just trying to put out pretty frequent content and grow the channel. So thanks for watching.